Hello everybody, I'm Samaras and today's video is going to be a new guide for Valheim. This time it's all about building. Everything from the start to the wood tier. It's supposed to be a pretty comprehensive guide, so it might be a little bit longer, but stick with it, I'm sure it is going to be helpful. The first thing you want to do is you want to find a good place to build. In my experience, the best point to build is somewhere close to the Black Forest. The starting biome is the meadows, that's where you're starting, and the Black Forest is the next one. We don't want to build in the Black Forest because it's pretty deadly at this point, but we want to be close to it so we can have still a good location when we move into that part. So we just pick one direction, it really doesn't matter which one, and just head along that way till we come either to water or to a Black Forest. Water is interesting too as well because it's beneficial later on to build near the water as well. Early on you find flint there, which gives you better tools, which we want to have. And secondly, later on you can build boats and which help you transport stuff and move over the ocean. So you probably want to be close to water for that as well. While we're looking for our location, we want to get some resources. We can get them by destroying beaches. We can just destroy them with our fists. And you can find wood, stones and flints laying on the floor sometimes. Flints you will only find near water. So yeah, that's why we're looking for water again. We need 30 wood as well as 2 stones and 6 flints to start out with. This allows us to build the basics so we can fully concentrate on constructing everything we want from there on. Well, we found a nice body of water here. Seems to be an ocean, not even only a river, which is really cool. And here near the water you can find the flint. It look like that, just a little bit longer white stones. And we're just going to collect 6 of them at least. Take a little bit care for the necks here. They aren't too hard, but if you are unused to the game, they can be dangerous, especially if they swarm you. In the water, you can spot a Black Forest pretty easily by the kind of trees. Just look for firs and pines and stuff like that. As soon as you see those, you know you are in the Black Forest. So there are those trees. So this seems to be a pretty good location to build. Not too far away, and we have our Black Forest, which is really useful for the late game resources. So we go a little bit back. We don't want to build directly next to them to avoid getting attacked by the monster which are living in the Black Forest directly. So yeah, we're looking for a flat spot. So I'm probably going to build right here. I like this spot. That seems to be good, nice spot for a starter base. So, speaking of starter base and speaking of building. So, the first thing we need to build is a hammer. We have the resources for that. So we do that. The hammer should be automatically equipped in your hotbar. If not, just drag it up there. Yeah, so we have built our hammer, and in order to build anything we need a workbench. So we go to the crafting tab and build a workbench. Not directly where we want to build because, well, it's in the way probably. But very close because the workbench has a building area. You can see as a white outline, so that's the maximum distance we can build away from the workbench. So that's the first thing. With a workbench we can build inside that area. We can even build outside, but you yourself have to stay inside it. So you can see as soon as I stand outside, you see it blinking down there that we don't have a workbench closed and I can't build it. If I'm inside, even if I build outside, I can. By the way, you can destroy everything you build by just pressing the middle mouse button and you get all your resources back. The second thing we can do with the workbench is we can build stuff inside the workbench, and even more important, we can repair stuff in the workbench. So stuff like our hammer or later an axe we're going to use for cutting down trees is going to lose durability and it's going to break. In the workbench, that's the place where you can repair it. But we need to have a roof over our workbench and have it protected from the elements in order to do that. So the simplest way I find to do that is just building a small stand like that, and that should allow you to use the workbench. As you can see, we have an item here to repair it. Now that we have collected our flint, we can use it to build a flint axe. As we can see, flint axe has a slashing power from 20, that's the damage it does. Also that's the damage it does to cutting down trees. And that's, well, 5 more than the stone axe, so we're happy that we collected our flint. That is going to make cutting those trees a little bit faster and speed up everything. With that we have used up all our resources we collected, but we have everything now to really start up. So the next step is we are clearing our location a little bit so that we have ground to build there. And we're going to collect wood. We're going to need a lot of wood for the building. So just cut down those trees and cut down those drums and get that. Also with the axe we are now finally armed, so getting rid of those necks and dwarfs is going to be a lot easier now. So next thing we want to do is we build a hoe, which will us allow to prepare our building place a little bit. You can raise the ground with raise ground tool on some stones as much as you want, but be aware that you are a little bit limited at how low you can make your ground. You can lower it only around 1 meter and not more. So yeah, keep this in mind. So we prepared our ground, leveled that a little bit, and finally start building. So I would suggest to start up with the foundation. The way you do that is you use those 1 meter poles and just look for a place to start with. Doesn't really matter where. I normally start at the lowest point, so I have a little bit of leeway, but you can remedy it either way. Alternative, you could start at the highest point and just start out with building floors as well and skip the foundation part. I think foundations look better and makes it a little bit easier to build well. So that's what we're going to do here. And we are going to build it out from the first point where we placed our 1 meter pole. While we're building the foundation, I'm going to use that to explain a few things. So the first thing is the stability system in the game. So there are a few different colors an item can have when you build that. It can be blue. Blue means it's connected to the earth and doesn't have any or 100% stability. Green, it is connected to the earth, but it's pretty stable, and it's getting more and more towards the red. The farther away you go from the starting location. If it's really red like that, you can't connect anything to it anymore. So if I connect that, it's going to take a second or two, but it will destroy itself because it doesn't have this ability to attach something. Important to know on that is stability is not only on the horizontal, it's also on the vertical. So if I build up here a little bit, might be able to see, well, and we're building out now, you should be able to see that we can't build out as far. As you can see, that's red already, and I can't connect that anymore. It's destroyed itself, so I have less space. And if I would build this higher up, that would get more extreme to the point where I even can't anything right on top of it anymore, because we don't have the stability anymore. So keep this in mind, especially if you want to build a basement later on, which you can do when you get another tool, the pickaxe, later on, which allows you to build down. But building down means you lower your foundation pieces, which means you limit your maximum height, and that can be an issue later on, so keep it in mind. It's all always depending from this point, from the blue point, where you can build. Which also means that if we raise the ground by using a hoe, we can build higher, of course, because our first item is connected to the ground on a higher level. So that's basic stability. Now there's one more thing you might want to know about stability, and that are diagonals. So we can build diagonal wood beams like that, and building them, they lose to the side or to the height the same amount of stability than the normal beams would. But we are not only building to the side, we're building higher as well. And that means we get this as an extra distance. I can't connect one more, just like that. But we did build up and we did build out. So those diagonal pillars can improve your range to build out. Also, you can do something like that for support, and that helps just the same way. So as we can see, we did build out as far as before. If we destroy that now, it recalculates the stability. It doesn't work anymore. I guess that's everything we need to know about stability. Let's get into building and snap points. So the game is using snap points to attach building pieces to another. As you can see, even if I move around a little bit, it has a fixed snap point and it's fixing itself perfectly next to next piece. But hitting the snap point only works perfectly if you look from the direction where you want to attach the building piece to. So if I'm looking at that direction and aim at here, I'm getting the snap point, no problems. If I'm going to be on the other side though, it is impossible to get a snap point here. So yeah, look at where you want to build to, and you don't have the problem. Well, that's sometimes easier said than done. Sometimes you are just too low, and are unable to get up to get this snap point to build higher, or even worse, sometimes you just want to build downwards and are unable to get that snap point, like in that example. So yeah, I can build that here, no problem, but I am unable to get the snap point below. So there are two things you can do. First of all is, sometimes if you build it close to the snap point, it sees the snap points anyways. That can work. So we're not looking for the snap point here, which we can't get because we are not looking from downwards to it, but we're going to aim it downwards and it finds the snap point. That doesn't work always though. So in that case here, oh, I can't build it here, but now if I want to build it below, there is no way I find this snap point. You can see, even if I try to build it under, it doesn't get a snap point. So for that case, we are going to use walls and half walls to get new snap points. In the case of building up, we are just going to build one wall, half wall below, and then we can attach a full height wall up there. So we use the pillar to build it against, but because we have built a half wall below, we get this new snap point up there. And with that snap point, we have a new snap point we can use by building against that wall. And with that we can build up. And we can repeat this, of course. So we're building a wall there. And building a pillar up. It is so easy. And exactly the same thing we can do to build downwards, of course. So we are going to just use a full wall in that case, because we have working with half pillars here. And with that we get a new snap point below, and we can finally position that new pillar there, delete the wall, and have the pillar there. So that's what you can do if you can't build a pillar or in building the normal way, because you don't get the snap point. I made a short tip video on the building down stuff already. It is a little bit more in depth, and I linked it in the top right corner, so check it out if you need more thorough explanation there. I find it useful to start with a 5x7 big building. The size you can choose all on your own, of course. It is a building size I found can bring you through a good part of the game without the need to extend later. The first thing we want to do is get as much stability as we can. So we are building a grid once around and supported with the small pillars. And then we're going to build a secondary grid within. I find that you can make it a little bit farther apart from each other. So I'm going to build an support only every second space. You can do it every space, of course, if you want to. It really doesn't matter in the end. So with that we have a grid, something like that. There's one more thing you should take care of though, and that is delete those inner beams, because if you build a wood floor like that, you're going to see that the beams actually are a little bit higher, so you have them looking out, and you even make a little step above to get over them. If you like to have them in your house, feel free to use them. If not, make sure you delete them. So that's something I will do, and I just leave the pillar in the middle as additional support. Then if you are a little bit later in the game, you can't do that when you build your first house probably. I give you one more trick you can do, and that is lower the ground with the pickaxe a little bit. About here. Beautiful. And we're going to do exactly the same on the other side of the house as well. This is even more useful if you have a bigger house than that. So we have lowered our ground a little bit, and what we can do now is we can build a craft bench in here as far to the outside as we can. This gives us a hidden craft bench, which we can use to extend our building radius. That. So we have a much bigger building radius now. Extruding out from that, I find this very useful. That's how I like to do my foundations. Next we're going to just build some floors, and then we can continue with building the house overall. I'm going to show you the building process in the time referer. If you're not interested with that, the next tip is going to be in about 30 seconds, so you can skip that. If you're building something far up, always remember you can just build those floor pieces nearly everywhere and use them as a temporary step to stand on. Very useful, and you can always disassemble them to get all your resources back. And it can be often really helpful to get this other snap point by looking from above, or have just the other view, I think. Next thing we should speak about overlapping pieces. So one thing Valheim does really well is that multiple pieces, builded pieces, can be in a single location. So that basically means that we can snap items into each other and through each other, which is very helpful. For example, here with the ladder, just build the second one below that and it snaps through the floor and doesn't have any problems. That also means that those openings we have in the top of the ceilings, if you want to close them, even though we have the center and we have those pieces, there's no piece which fits in here directly. But what we can do is we use the wood wall 45 degrees and snap that in there. So as you can see, we snap it a little bit below, and that way it fits right in there and sits above the other building pieces and closes the hole and just fits right in there. Just so you can see how that looks. If I would destroy the other building pieces, you can see it just sits there in the middle. We could of course have built this at first like that and then the other building pieces, but it doesn't matter. You can just snap them in each other like that again and have them all connected. You can also make smaller walls or narrower walls with that trick as well. Next thing is we can also deactivate our snap points and setting things just anywhere where we want them to by pressing the left shift button. So as you can see, even though normally here would be snap points, we can set them freely however we want. We can use this for many different things again. As example, we can build some chests here. Can even stack them by just building those small ceilings. They actually fit pretty well like that, but we can make them closer pressing the left shift button and just slide them in there like that, and have a second set of chests right above them like that. And of course even more if we want to. So again, we're just going to place that as low as we can, just above the chests. Snap them. And building 2 more. So that's how you can make a quick and easy storage wall by using the no snapping feature. Which, like I said, can be pretty useful. Next thing you might want to think about, you would probably want to have a cooking fire within your building. So, but there are 2 problems with that. The first thing is that you can't build a fire within or on a wood piece. Kind of makes sense, would burn pretty well probably. So yeah, we can build it outside, but we can't build it inside. But we are pretty sure that we are supposed to build it inside, because if we want to build, if we build a bed, want to sleep in it, Well, if it would be night, it would say, well, we need fire. And we need fire to get a resting bonus. So, what's up with that? Well, it is actually pretty easy to do. So, what we do is we just kill one ceiling. Raise the dirt a little bit. You decide how high you can do it, nearly as high as your ceiling is, your building is, or you can make it a little bit lower. I like to have it a little bit lower. I have my pillar here, which is pretty useful. So I'm just going to snap some walls around there. Snap there. Let's make that a little bit more even. Okay. And there I got a place for my fire. Can just place it in there and have it warming up my small house. But there's one problem. A fire, well, smokes. And smoke, first of all, is pretty deadly if you're standing in it. As you can see, it goes to the higher point. And yeah, I can't breathe in it, and I'm going to get damaged. It's not too bad, it's just on the roof, but it's going to get more and more. As you can see, I already get damaged there. And I have this small hole in the top there, but that's not really enough to get rid of all the smoke my fire is going to produce. Over time, the smoke will fill up the building. If the building is really big like that, it might work out. I'm not too sure with that. And it can even be that it extinguishes the fire because it doesn't have enough oxygen. So what we need to do is, well, we need some way for the smoke to escape. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Just have a hole in your roof. The problem with that, of course, is when it rains, rain will get on the fire and will extinguish the fire. So what we need to do is we need to build a chimney, some kind. There are ways to do it on the near the wall and have the fire like here, and just build a pretty traditional chimney. What I like to do is I like to build a chimney the style Wikinger often had, so we have our cooking fire in the center, and we have an elevated part in the roof which we are going to use as the chimney. So we're going to get up here, place ourselves a small step, and going to build something to elevate the roof at this part, like that. For the looks, I'm going to use some more beams, but that's totally up to you. Don't need to do that. We're using our cross. Go and roof that. So that's the very simple way to do that. I do it a little bit bigger. Let me show you. So what I like to do is expand the roof a little bit. I'm going to use the option to overlap step like that. So with that we have the roof a little bit widened there. Not only half, but a little bit over half. Same on that side. Snap this in there. Again, if you need, just build additional steps. Never hurts. Okay. So we have closed this. Can't do this. And then do pretty much the same we did before. So we frame this with some beams and place a roof on that. And when I build the bigger one, I like to actually close off the sides, which actually also helps the smoke pool a little bit inside there. Can now close this up. And like that we have an Wikinger style chimney with an elevated roof. I often find those openings is a little bit big. If you think so as well, you can just use the non-snapping feature and build some beams in there. I think that makes it a little bit nicer look. So next thing you might want to know is doors. Building doors is actually pretty straightforward. All you need to do is, well, select a door and set it in there. There are just two things you should look out for. First of all, a door can sit a little bit on the outside or on the inside. So if you set it, make sure it is flush with the wall. And doesn't sit in front. Like that's in front and that's inside. So with that we have set the wall right. The second thing is, well, we are pretty big, more or less exactly 2 meters, and this makes it a little bit hard to get to the wall. And the problem there is pretty simple. It is this foundation beam we have below. So just delete that, only where the door is, and we can easily get in and out. Next, of course, we're going to build an small stair like that, and that easy we can get in and out of our house as we want. So some people like me don't like it when a roof finishes right with the wall. Maybe you want to have something outside here like this there, and you don't want to degrade it or stuff like that. So an easy catch for that is to just use the short beam like that, and use this as the new half snap point for a ceiling. So with that you can snap a ceiling on there, and yeah, have it to have a little bit of an overhang to your roof. Also, especially because stuff which isn't below a roof, like this stairs actually would be, isn't protected against weathering and will degrade over time. It will never be totally destroyed. It will always degrade only to, I don't know, something between 25 to 50%. I'm not totally sure there. But you probably want to have it under a roof just to make sure that it doesn't do that. So what I like to do is I'm going to use this roof piece, a little bit less steep one. And we're going to need a middle part here. So we're going to take the beam like there, and the beam there, and use this as a snap point. Now we can delete those and have a snap point directly in the middle. Let's get this wood. Okay. And use this roof to have a canopy like that. Next I want to show you a few ways, or one way how I do my windows mostly. So we're just going to open the wall here. We have 1.5 high ceiling here, and we're going to use the half walls, and we're just going to frame those to have some windows. I'm using the half blocks here. We're going to see in a second why. And on the top as well. Pretty interesting is if we have them closed like that, we have shelter. If we have them open, that was the wrong one. But still, if we have them open like that, we're going to see that we are losing the shelter buff in some cases. So yeah, that's a pretty good reason to use some beams to make them a little bit smaller. This little bit smaller is already enough. And what I like to do is quarter them like that. I missed that here. Okay. And with that I have some nice windows. And we can even do one more thing if you like that. So the other way you can do what you can do for windows is you're going to use the door, and as we already know, we can attach it so that it is a little bit outside. So we're going to use this and now build our holes around the window just like we had before. Wood beams at the top and one through the center. Okay, and yeah, we have a window we can close and open. Looks a little bit like you have a frame, a window frame like that. Don't know if you like that. Of course, you can just place a door inside. That would work as well. You do not have to have it on the outside like I did here. Let's see if I can place it. Right. I think that would be like that. Yeah. So of course you can do this as well. I wouldn't open it to the inside. See? So it actually glitches inside of the frame. I prefer to stand on the outside. Looks a little bit more natural to me, but again, it's up to you. So those are the two possibilities. So windows like that we can't really bring on the outside here because of the roof and stuff. What you could do though is make a small window there. That would work. So we're just going to use this ceiling piece for that to get a new no. What we're going to use is we're going to beam there. And a beam downwards. And close that down like that. And use a half wall there. And with that we have a small window next to the door. There, 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 there. That and that. So that's something you could do for windows on that side. And of course we can do a central window a little bit over the canopy like that. Open that up. And as the last thing I want to show you is if you want to place a pillar inside of your house and doesn't want to have it look boring like that, what you can do is just do the angled beams and place them to the side like that. That gives the whole thing a much more natural look. Well, that finished our comprehensive guide to the wood tier. I really hope you found it helpful. Press the like button if you did. I'm probably going to do more videos on Valheim, so if you don't want to miss those, next one is probably going to be about the stone tier. Don't forget to subscribe for that, so you get the notice. Also, if you disagree with some of the stuff I did, or if you have ideas I should have shown in your opinion of the video, leave me a comment down below or write it in my Discord. I would be really happy to know what you think about that stuff. With that, again, thank you so much for watching. And of course, a special thanks to my Patreons. You guys really rock. Bye bye and have fun gaming.